G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest game in the world, rugby. And this weekend, La Resistance is out in full force to try and topple the reigning, the defending, the undisputed, the Bayaleka Amaboku Boku, also known as the Springboks. And this will be an absolutely monumental match between the two sides. And oh boy, I am concerned, I am scared, I don't know what to think. But first up, I wanted to just point out, I am right, and a lot of you are wrong in the comment section. So yes, I just wanted to pat myself in the shoulder a little bit and show a little bit of a video from me, okay? And I do think that my prediction is it's going to be 5-3. So they're going to put Cobus Reinach, Andre Pollard, and then Villaroo on the bench. Yeah, that's... Told ya! I told you! Now, let me explain. I didn't explain it properly in this video, but let me tell you why that is the case. So the Springboks has opted for a 5-3 setup on the bench. So there's no the extra forward on the bench, whilst the French team actually has an extra forward playing 6-2 on the bench with Siku Makalu as an additional forward / winger on the bench for the French side. So yes, the Springboks is actually a deficit for the first time. I can't even remember how long, with a forward deficit for a very long time, in probably a year now, for the Springboks side. So this is really just one of those things that I want to explain how this conclusion was made by the coaching staff and how I came to the conclusion that they're going to go for this 5-3 setup, okay? First up, a lot of you are saying, oh, if Damian Willemse gets injured, they can just shuffle other players around in that position instead of Andre Pollard. Here's the thing. Andre Pollard can only play one position. That is the fly half. And if he's to fill in as another position out of the fly half, even in the case of, say you put Mane Lebok at fullback, because he's played fullback before, according to some of your players in club rugby, it's just not good enough for the Springboks. Like, the way the Springboks play revolves heavily around the fullback position. The fullback is both a playmaker, is both defensively important under the high ball, offensively under the high ball, and the kicking game, the Springboks kicking game, completely revolves around the fullback's ability to manipulate space with the kicking, with the boot. And that is not something that Andre Pollard or Mane Lebok, I have no issues with them playing fullback. If for their club rugby, even if for like most of the tier 1 nations, a quality player like Pollard or Mane Lebok at fullback, no problem. But just for the Springboks, that is just not good enough. Like, there's a reason why every week I come out and I kiss his ass. Damian Willemse, the greatest Springbok in history of the Springboks, is because how important he is for the Springbok strategy. And he's irreplaceable. He's the one person that is irreplaceable in the Springbok backline. And like I said, if he gets injured this game, the coach will have to judge if he's injured. There's no way Mane Lebok or Andre Pollard is going to be able to play to the level that is required for the Springboks to fill that fullback position, which is why they have to put Villaroo on the bench as the third specialist fullback position for the Springboks, and the third back reserve on the bench. So that is the logic. That is why I think that the coaches were going to go this way. And turns out the coaches are thinking the same thing as me as well in that regard. I do think that this is the right decision. Playing just Faf de Klerk and Andre Pollard on the bench is just way too risky. Way too risky. And yeah, that is why I think this is the way to go. So with that being said, with a match of such a monumental occasion, the referee obviously will be Ben O'Keefe of New Zealand. He's the #1 referee out of New Zealand. He's very, very good, and he's also fluent in French apparently, and he's been giving a lot of international test experience in recent times. And I'm pretty happy that he's gonna be, pretty fair in overall in the game. His performance is gonna be in no question whatsoever. This game will be played in Paris. It's gonna be on Sunday. Quite cool. All of a sudden, the weather, it's gonna be 12 degrees on the Sunday evening, and it's gonna be a little bit cloudy, maybe a little bit wet conditions there as well. So yes, the history between the Springboks and the French pretty one-sided in recent times until, Fabien Galtier took over the French team in 2019. The French actually won the one and only outing between the two World Cups in France, 30 points to 26. Now, this match was a very interesting match. So let's have a look at what actually happened in this match, right? 30 points, 26. The key here is that there were two red cards in this match. Pieter-Steph du Toit gets a red card for a dangerous clean out, hitting a player in the head, and that was very early in the game. And the Springboks was hanging in there. And then early in the second half, Antoine Dupont, I had forgot about this, took out Cheslin Kolbe in the air under the high ball and gets sent off for a red card. So the game was even with the player count for the remainder of the second half until all the way till the end. Dion Fury gets sent off for repeated penalties, I think he did. And and resulted in the Springboks just missing out this match by 30 points to 26. Now, there was a big issue going to this match, was the goal kicking. There was no, the Springboks were trying to decide who was going to be they were having goal kicking issues, and they're trying to decide how to go about it with the goal kicking. So in this match, they had 3 goal kickers. They had Damien Willemse, Cheslin Kolbe, and Faf de Klerk. And all 3 players were managed to land all the goal kicks. So yeah, the French is the one that actually missed one, but it's quite interesting how that, the players pulled themselves together for the big occasion, but it was still not quite enough to make the difference in the end. Set piece were quite even for both teams as well. Lineouts overall, there's no mistakes for either teams. And penalty conceded probably higher for the French team as well. And it's just so tight, these two sides match up. And I think that it's just going to be a hairline when it comes down to difference to which team wins the match. The recent performance for the French team has been since the French won the Grand Slam in 2022, right? In 2023, the French hasn't really found the same form, to be honest. The form has really dropped a little bit. Obviously, sometimes to do with a little bit of injury, they lost to Ireland to lose out on the Grand Slam themselves. And then, they had a bit of on and off during the warm-ups, losing to Scotland in a comeback win with a B team, albeit. And then I do feel like, despite the fact that they beat the All Blacks in the opening match, I did feel like that their kicking game was very inaccurate. There was a lot of lackluster kicking. They are very good in broken play, with Damien Penaud extremely dangerous, but I do think that the overall package of the French team, and obviously, yes, the Uruguay game was another big, blind spot, a big, what do you call it? Yeah, a big forgettable moment in this game for the French, viewers. They were playing against Uruguay, and they had all the they didn't even get a bonus point out of this match. They were under the pumps a bit by the Uruguay, something that should not have happened at all. And there was the consistency and the peak of the French team from 2022 is definitely worn off quite a bit. So going into this match, the French team that played the South Africans in 2022, it's not really the same French team that's going to be playing this weekend. So I do think that South Africans might have a bit of an edge here. For the Springboks, again, on and off throughout the years. And more recently, the Springboks has found themselves a bit more form. Losing to the All Blacks in New Zealand has always been a difficult task, but they were able to bounce back and beat New Zealand in the pre-World Cup warm-up quite convincingly, 35 points to 7. And then they did lose to the number 1 team in the world, the Irish, in the pool stage, in a very close game, in a game that I did feel like the Springboks had more opportunities to win that game, and they just not able to seize it, whether it be poor goal kicking and poor handlings in front of the goal line. There were a number of opportunities for the Springboks to score in that match, and they blew them. They failed to convert those. And so I thought that was a game that's not because the Irish won. That was more of a game that the Springboks lost due to themselves. And that's something that they need to really try to work on. Obviously, Handré Pollard has been added to the Springbok team, making up the difference for the goal kicking. And that will be surely, one of the key areas the Springboks wants to target to try to win out this match against the French. So let's have a look at the lineup. Let's have a look at who's got the the nod, the privilege to represent their nations in this monumental occasion of Rugby World Cup history. Now, first up, we got the front rowers to talk about. This is one of the key areas in the world in the modern day of rugby. Cyril Bai returns from injury. He's had a bit of an injury and he's good to go at the loose air proposition. I'm pretty sure he played a little bit in the last match against Italy. I think he did play a little bit of that. But yeah, he is ready to go. He's back in the fold, a number 1 jersey. Patel Movaka gets the number 2 jersey. I thought this guy's been absolutely tremendous. Showed a lot of versatility for the French. He played number 8 in one of the games due to injuries. And he also just showed, not only that he's a great, set piece management, set piece operator, but he's also extremely good with the ball carry as well. Uni Antonio is the biggest tight head prop in the world. Maybe not the biggest anymore, considering the Tongan tight head prop is absolutely like 150 or something. But he's definitely the tallest, probably one of the tallest, 197 centimeters tall, and then 146 kilograms. The thing with Antonio Uni is that he is one of the few players that has got better since he played against the Springboks in 2022. Yeah. His scrummaging has got a lot better. His fitness has improved a lot. So he's actually much more dangerous than the Springboks, than what the Springboks experienced just a year or so ago. And the main thing that really impressed me from Antonio is his ability to absolutely destroy Ethan de Groot from the All Blacks. So yeah, that is one thing that hopefully the Springboks has not underestimated him, and hopefully picked that up and worked on that a little bit. For the Springboks, Stephen Kitsop coming up 1 jersey, and I do think that Kitsy has to pull out every tricks in the bag to try to match up with Antonio. He's just that good, and Kitsop will have to really work on that angles to try to get Antonio off balance, and really the hit, the engagement, the hit when during the game against the All Blacks from Antonio was so much that Ethan de Groot was losing his footing. So this will be some massive hits out of the scrummaging as well. Bungi Bunabi comes in number 2 jersey. Just an absolute solid performer overall for the Springboks. He does have a really good ball carry game as well. We don't see that very often, but he's something that we'll probably see this weekend. Franz Malherba comes in number 3, the tight head prop for the Springboks. And he's going to have a nice day with Cyril Bai this weekend as well. In the locking position now, Cameron Wilkie gets caught up to the number 4 jersey, and Thibaut Flament gets the number 5 jersey for the French team. And this is I think Wilkie is being has been off the bench a lot for the French, and he's starting for the French due to an injury to who was it that was injured? I'm pretty sure he's here because it was an injury to the French locks. But anyway, I always felt that he deserved to be a starting jersey regardless. I think he's very good in lineouts, and he's very, very good at the breakdown. So I always felt that he deserved to be started anyway. But I'm pretty sure there was a guy that was injured that led to him getting the starting jersey. Anyway, let me know who it was. Can't remember on top of my head. Isbeth Etzebeth comes in number 4. And Franco Mosto gets the number 5 jersey. Once again, Mosto has been used as a utility player a lot in the past, but nowadays, in the last, this year in 2023, he's really starting to show his quality as the lock and being kind of getting that starting number 5 jersey as the Lou Diacha is not selected at all for the Springboks because of how good Franco Mosto has been in the number 5 jersey. And I think Luke Diacha had a bit of injury as well. Ibn Esbeth, as always, the solid, the backbone of the Springbok team, are the number 4 jersey. Finally, in the loose forwards, we have Anthony Gilloch. He's a very popular man in France. Every time a camera shows his face, he also had a bit of injury, shows his face, they get a massive cheers for him because I think he used to be in the France Olympic diving team. Pretty sure he was in that, and as a result, he had a lot of fame. Coming out of the diving team for the French Olympics. Not sure if he won a gold medal, maybe like a bronze or something, but he was very popular because of that. So he's back at number 6 jersey with the French. And again, long-term injury. He's had a bit of a time in the pool stage against lesser teams. I don't think he played against the All Blacks, and we'll see how he's going to perform against the Springboks. Siya Khaleesi gets the open side jersey at number 6 for the for the Springboks. Again, he's just tremendous every game for the Springboks. Believe it or not, he had a knee injury not that long ago, and he's just looking better than ever these days, and always good to watch him play. Number 7, Charles Ollivon, a guy also had a knee injury, and Charles Ollivon, unlike Sia Khaleesi, who came back in 5 months or something, Charles Ollivon was out for a year or something, a year or 2 years, a very, very long time. And then he's now starting to build, luckily he had a lot of time to build himself back into the team, and now once again a core member of the French setup. Peterson Dutoy gets a blindside flanker jersey for the Springboks. Once again, he's gonna really try to redeem himself from that red card he received against France, in 2022, but he will be doing his best not to do that again for his country. Finally, Gregory Audrey comes in number 8, and to my surprise, Dwayne the Rock Vermeulen is called in a number 8 jersey over Jasper Wiese. Jasper Wiese is not on the bench at all. I am very surprised that the coaching staff has opted for Dwayne Vermeulen as the number 8. The only reason I can think of as to why he's selected ahead of Jasper Wiese is the fact that they want to use him as a 4th line-out jump option. I think that maybe they feel like their line-out is getting a little bit stale and it's becoming too predictable. And I think that, we saw Dwayne jump a couple times in recent matches against Tonga and then against, which one was it? Against Romania as well. I think he did 1 or 2 lineouts. And I think that is the reason why he's called in at number 8, because I really don't see him better than Jasper Wiese in terms of the general running game and everything else in the game. I think he's a little bit lower in Jasper Wiese and all those other areas, but I do think that is the reason why he's selected. It's the bit of a line-out variation. So now let's look at the back line now. The man, the hero of the French team, Antoine Dupont. Let's get this centered. Can we get this centered? Yes. Antoine Dupont gets returned to the game. He had obviously fractured a cheekbone against which one was it? Against Namibia. And he has had operations on him, and he will be wearing a scrum cap this week. And yes, he's massively important for the French team. Everything plays around him. He is the playmaker of the team. He's the captain of the team. He's the the soul, the absolute freak that he is with his just sheer talent and athleticism. He just carries the French team on his shoulders. He's very, very important. With him back in the fold, without him, I wouldn't, hands down, the France won't be able to beat the Springboks. But with him in the team, now this contest becomes a very, very close call. Cobus Reinach gets called up to the number 9 jersey ahead of Faf de Klerk, and very interesting to see. And it's kind of interesting because Reinach has showed a lot of speed in recent matches, and I think that is why they have him here at number 9, to try to match up with the speed and athleticism Antoine Dupont brings, because Faf de Klerk is more of a kicking style, whereas Reinach is more of the running style of rugby, which is also interesting to see. Well, the style that a Springbok's going to play and the speed that a Springboks is expecting from the French team. Number 10, Matthew Jalibert comes in for the French. Amani Lebok retains a turn jersey. And obviously, a lot of people said that, people think that, Handré Pollard was going to start. I didn't think so. I mean, Amani Lebok has been so good for the Springboks, opened up a lot of opportunities in terms of getting tries on the board. And with his just variety of attacking play and all the players around him has been working with him quite well. And I really don't see that Handré Pollard was going to be pigeonholed into the 10 jersey ahead of Mane de Bok. So obviously the goal kicking is an issue, but Mane de Bok has shown that in big matches he can get those goal kickers 100% like he did against the All Blacks. So yeah, he will have to hold down the fort until Handré Pollard comes on in the second half to close out the game with his long-range goal kicks. The number 11 jersey now, Luis Pierre-Bierry for the French. I do think that this is a very interesting selection. Again, I feel like French, he's got a lot of notoriety at the moment. He's got a lot of fanfare. He's, a very young kid, 20 years of age. And I do think that he's still a little bit rusty. And I think that Gabin Villiers is the better option at the number 11 jersey. And I think that Fabien Galtier, throwing him into the deep end against the Springboks at such a young age, I think that this might actually end up hurting the French, to be honest. I mean, it's up to him to prove me wrong. I think that he's probably going to, the French might look back and look at this to be a mistake. I think that Villiers it's a little bit more polished than Bieri. To be really frank with you, that's my assessment. Cheslin Kobe, one of the best wingers in the world, one of the best wingers under the high ball, absolutely devastating, absolute machine. Give him a bit of a space, he will beat you with his incredible athleticism. Centers now, once again, this is an absolute brutal matchup for both sides. So out of the number 12 jersey, the brutalizers, the absolute, sledgehammers from both teams. Jonathan Dante, just absolute huge crash balls. Like every time he runs, it looks like he's gonna murder somebody. Damien Delenda has showed a lot of power and strength as well in recent times. I was beginning to lose confidence in Delenda to his performances recently. And not recently, like, last year. But, his performance against Ireland was just so incredibly good. I thought, like, the way he carried the ball was just absolutely brutal. Dante's going to bring that as well. So this is just going to be two absolute sledgehammers banging into each other. And it's going to be absolutely huge to watch and entertaining to watch. Number 13 jersey now. Gao Fikyu is someone who's really good at creating space, whereas Jesse Crew is someone who's really good defensively. So yeah, we'll have to see how this is going to match up. There's a slight difference in terms of style out of the 13 jersey for both teams. Damien Penaud is the most dangerous man on the field for the French. Again, in those loose, open plays, Damien Penaud is probably the best in the world. Maybe the only one that can contest him in those open field, loose style play is Curdy Alensa, actually, who is absolutely devastating for the Springboks. The footwork, the speed, the athleticism, the agility is absolutely out of this world. So yeah, this will be another game to see who's going to win out of this one. Damien Penaud might have a bit of advantage in terms of under the high ball, and if Dupont's kicking game is on point, Damien Penaud might find a bit of an edge over Curly Alensa. But yeah, it's going to be very tight again here. And finally, in the fullback position, Tomo Ramos comes in number 15, also the goal kicker. Very good on the high ball. And then the greatest Springbok in history of the Springboks, Damian Willemse, comes in number 15. He's unbelievably good. He's still getting better, believe it or not. And that's something that, to my surprise, I already felt he was at the peak of his game maybe a couple of years ago. He's still getting better every game. And he's the way he counterattacks, the way he be able to read the game, the way he's able to find in the space with the high balls, with the kicking game, is just incredible to watch. Yeah. And finally, in the back line, we got Pierre Bugatti, Bergarit comes in number 16 for the French. Not familiar with this guy. Let me know if you know anything about him. The Dion Fourie gets number 16 jersey, and obviously the French had a bit of a line-out issues with who's the other guy? McCont, I think. He was having a bit of a line-out issues. Maybe that's why he's being replaced by this Pierre guy. So Dion Fourie comes in number 16. His line-out is, again, very, very important to get that 100% when he comes off the bench to bring that impact play for the Springboks. In fact, I feel like they might keep Bungi Bungnabi on the field for close to 80 minutes and have Dion Fourie coming on as a flanker first before he moves into the hooker position. Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if, Bungi plays the full game. In fact, maybe close to the full game. Vera Vardy comes in number 17. Dorian Al-Khaderi comes in number 18. And this guy, his name is Reshikhovastava. Reshikhovastava Uncha, right? Is that how you say his name? Reshikhovastava. Inche. Okay. Again, Inche is probably one of the most important players for the Springboks coming off the bench. His ability to squeeze out a penalty, immediately come off the bench, is something that the Springboks has been getting a lot of value, a lot of points, a lot of dominance out of him just coming off fresh off the bench, getting those scrum penalties. He's probably the best looser prop in the world in terms of just scrummaging. And yeah, we'll be seeing him coming off the bench and the number 17 jersey. Number 18, Mr. Incredible, is in finally. Finally, he returns for the Springboks. And I was actually thinking this yesterday. Are they going to put Vincent Koch ahead of Trevor Nyakani because they're going to play 5-3 on the bench? I feel like maybe the coach is perceiving that Vincent Koch is a little bit fitter than Nyakani, and thus having him as the number 18. because there's only 5 forwards on the bench? I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I was thinking about this, and sure enough, the coach have somehow thought about the same thing and put Vincent Koch at number 18. So yeah, that's a very interesting selection here. Very, very interesting. At number 19, Romain Toffe-Vinoa, the finisher for the French. Achis Neyman, the Viking, comes in at number 19. He's unbelievably good for the Springboks. I mean, his return is just so huge for the Springboks. Francois Croc comes back at number 20 for the French. He's been moved to the bench from the All Black game. And then Huaga Smith, the guy that everybody says he can play every position on the field, is coming in at number 20. Once again, with that energy, with that speed coming off the bench, which means that Jasper Visa misses out the selection, and also Marco van Staden misses out the selections on that extra forward slot. Siku Makalu is an additional forward for the French, the 6th forward. He also doubles up as a winger. He has tremendous speed. He plays loose forward for the French side. And Faf de Klerk comes in number 21. And number 22, Maxime Luku for the halfback position for the French. And number 22 for the Springboks. Everybody is expecting this. Henry Pollard will become on the bench at some point in the second half, maybe the last 20 minutes or so, to get the goal kicking going. Depends how bad the goal kicking is. If the goal kicking is really bad, he might come on at half time. If the goal kicking is good, he might be coming on in the last maybe 20 minutes or so. Yeah, so I think there's a massive variation as to when he's going to come onto the field, potentially put it on the field. And finally, the number 23 jersey, Uriah Moefana, finishes off the French. And interestingly, France has opted for an additional center instead of additional fullback, as they normally do with what's his name? I always can't remember people's name when I'm recording. But yeah, instead of the additional fullback, they have opted for additional. But Moefana is the more versatile player in the French team. He plays a lot of different positions. Actually, I'm pretty sure he played. I think he actually can come up fullback. I think he actually started for the French team as a winger or as a fullback. Actually, yeah. So he's a very versatile player at the 23 jersey. And Villy Leroux, like I said to you, is going to be the number 23, and is going to be there purely to fill in for Damien Willemse. And I do think that Willemse will get the pleasure to watch Willemse playing center at some point in the second half when Henry Pollard comes in for Manny Lebok and Villy Leroux comes in at fullback, and then Damien Willemse will be moving to center at some point in the game. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. You know, he plays center for the Stormers, and he's absolutely world class at that. It will be good to see him apply his trade. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I think this game is very, very difficult to predict. For me, I think if this game is played in a neutral venue, like, you know, anywhere else other than France or South Africa, even like a neutral venue anywhere else in the world, I think South Africa will win this one. But I do think that the home crowd is such a huge factor for the French. And man, it's too hard to predict, man. No predictions for me because I don't want to be disappointed. But I do have a bad feeling. I did just say I have a bad feeling about this one because of the home ground and the effects of the home crowd might have to the players. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your predictions. Like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate you being here. And thanks for your support with your mutual membership and Patreon. And thanks for the donations as well. And have a good one, guys. And I'll see you guys for the reviews. Have a very nice week and don't stress out too much, please.